The bats have been here my entire life. From when I was a baby, the bats were here, and to now, the bats were always here. Like sometimes we have this row and then like 3 rows of bats. Well, a female bat just kind of opened their legs, and then from behind them, you could just see a baby bat emerging, and there were many, many squeaks. You get used to it, but if you leave the lights for too long, like sometimes if you're up at 3 a.m., you've got the lights on, that'll be squeaking. So you might want to not do that. That's why I turn the lights off at like 8.
All right, we're in Warren County tonight in this graveyard, and behind us is this beautiful old church. And the reason we're here is because in the attic of that church, there's a colony of big brown bats, probably about 100 of them. And one big brown bat can eat as many as 3,000 insects in one night. And if there's about 100 bats in there, that means this colony alone could probably take out about 300,000 insects each and every night of the summer, which is pretty incredible. So before it gets too dark, we're gonna go inside the attic and take a look. Whenever you go into a building with bats, there's pretty much a 100% chance you're gonna be attacked and bitten. And if you get bitten by a bat, there's a 100% chance you'll come down with rabies and die. So this is pretty much a one-way trip.
First of all, when we go up there, the bats are going to see us as big, scary monsters that might want to eat them. So probably their first reaction is going to be to slink back a little bit farther into whatever cubby or crevice they're roosting in and spending their time in. Probably won't see any dive down out of the rafters, but a couple might start chirping and talking to each other. And about the rabies, you had looked up some facts, hadn't you? Alright, so you guys can see their exit hole right here, nice and clearly. So bats really only need an entry point as wide as about a ½ inch or so. This is a nice big one for them. So if you take a peek up here, you can see a lot of sunlight poking through right next to the chimney. By the time dusk rolls around, they are nice and hungry after a long day inside. And so just like clockwork, they'll come out every evening right around dusk. So usually that equates to about 15 minutes past the local sunset time. I don't know if we've talked about this yet, but a big colony of bats like this is a maternity colony. So it's made up of pregnant mother bats when they first arrive in the spring, and then later on when they give birth, their babies. Big brown bats are doing okay, yeah. For whatever reason, they seem to be resistant or resilient to white nose syndrome, and from folks like the Woolridges that have been doing the counts every summer since pre-white nose syndrome years, we know that big brown bat numbers are actually appearing to go up since white nose syndrome hit, which could be in response to there being so many fewer of all the other bats. Little brown bats have been one of the most severely hit by white nose syndrome. And per the summer bat count results, we've seen about 95% decline in the little brown bats since white nose.
A disease called white nose syndrome has killed millions of hibernating bats in the eastern half of the United States just the past 10 years. The fungus that causes it likely arrived from Europe on the boots of an unsuspecting cave tourist. American bats had no immunity. Deep inside their hibernaculums, the disease prevented bats from maintaining the deep sleep necessary to survive 6 months underground with no food. The fungus caused starvation and dehydration. And if that wasn't enough, it also destroyed a bat's wings, rendering it unable to fly.
This has the distinction of being New Jersey's biggest, most important bat hibernation site. Alright, so we've got about 46 degrees Fahrenheit and 50-some% humidity right here at the entrance. It's chilly. So we know that as of early January 2009, there were about 26,000 little brown bats and some others speckled through the cave here. And just a short bit later, we were down to just over 1,000. So in that first year that white nose syndrome, the fungus arrived here, it wiped out about 25,000 bats. You can still to this day just see the little tiny bones on the ground and little skeletons stuck to the wall from all the bats that died in there.
Is this an emotional place for you to come?
Yeah, I used to get a lot more choked up about it, and I don't know if I'm glad or sad by the fact that we're starting to get inured to the fact that this is just our reality. But it's our reality now.
There's still no cure for white nose syndrome, but there is perhaps a glimmer of hope. Scientists have discovered a beneficial bacteria that, at least in a laboratory, has helped bats fight off the disease. More research remains to be done on whether the bacteria might be effective in a real cave environment. Okay, for our next field segment, we headed out with Mackenzie and some other bat biologists to Sparta Mountain in Sussex County for some bat netting and bat banding. Here's what happened.
We're about to raise 5 net sets. One of them is the first time we've gotten to use a triple high all season, which is great. We're going to attempt to catch northern long-eared bats to learn more about their life histories, roosting spaces, and other things that we don't know about them in New Jersey right now. So we are literally trying to catch the needle in the haystack. This looks good, Ken. It does look good.
You think little brown?
I haven't gotten a good look at it yet.
Oh yeah. There you are.
That is looking like a northern long-eared bat to me, you guys. Holy hell.
Oh my god, that is.
Female.
Look at this.
Northern long-eared bat. Hey. Ow!
Woo!
Whatever. That wasn't hard. Or
Yeah.
anything.
What are you talking about? That was easy. We do this all the time.
We got one! What the heck? We got one!
Oh.
How many weeks have we been out doing this?
Oh my god.
It's actually possible.
It was feeling so daunting. I was just saying.
Gotta be at least a few of them left. This is a good sign.
That's what we hope to hear tomorrow.
That's what we're gonna hear all night and all day tomorrow and every sleepless day for the next 7 to 21 days. Okay, wow, is that it? Can we let her go?
Okay, Mackenzie, so that was very exciting. What happened the next day?
Yes, and it was very exciting. That was literally the first northern long-eared bat that we caught and put a radio tag on during this project, and it's the first one that we were attempting to track. So the group of us met the next day near the capture site and basically spent maybe 3.5 hours scouring the hillsides, trying to hit every high point surrounding the capture location. We were not having great luck. I think as the day rolled on, our hopes got a little dimmer. People stopped talking to each other. Definitely got a lot quieter, but we persevered, and eventually from a side road, we caught a signal down the valley toward a residential community in Ogdensburg, which is an unexpected twist to the story, but ended up tracking another hour-ish, just triangulating in, and we did locate the roost in the siding of a house.
Okay, so we're down in the Pine Barrens. This is Wharton State Forest. It's like 120,000 acres. So this place is huge, and we're pretty much in the middle of it. So, New Jersey is the nation's most densely populated state, but right now we're probably further away from masses of people than just about anywhere else you can be in New Jersey. So, it feels roomy. It's nice. The mission tonight is to mist net and hopefully ban some more northern long-eared bats, whatever other bats we find too.
Okay, Jared. If this is a long-eared, you're coming out with us every single night. Do you understand me?
You mean Dennis?
Every time he's come out, we've got a long-eared bat. I'm optimistic because we're catching northern long-eared, so that gives us information, and hopefully we can use that information to protect the populations we do still have. We've heard from other biologists catching them in other locations throughout the state, so we're really getting a broad range and actually getting a good understanding of the fact that they're still here, they're still all over New Jersey, and we still have a lot to learn.
So obviously a lot of time goes into banding a bat, tracking a bat. Why are you doing this? What do you hope to learn?
Yeah, well, with the northern long-eared bat, newly federally listed, there is a lot that we don't know right now. And so we're sort of facing and forced to learn a lot about the species really quickly. And netting is rough. We put in a lot of hours of unsuccessful capture attempts, putting in a lot of time to the telemetry part and other parts of this project. But really, those are the best tools that we have at our disposal to learn by. And we really need to better understand how many of these bats are still out there, where they are, where they live and spend their time, where they're roosting. The more we can learn and the more behaviors we can document about these animals, the better capable we'll be to steward them.
Okay, so we've been talking about some serious issues like white nose syndrome. This next field segment is a little more lighthearted. Here is a window into the world of bats.
This is actually really unusual. Bats are usually secretive and they like to be off on their own in the dark. So we're pretty surprised that they want to be in a window where, there's constant action and lights on and off and moving around. It's been said that bats will preen, which is cleaning themselves, more than a house cat. So they spend a lot of time cleaning their wings. In order to fly, they need to have very clean wing membrane.
And bats enjoy sleeping this close? They're not just overcrowded?
No, they love snuggling up next to each other. When we came here to band them, the whole half of the window was open and they were all snuggled together in one corner. So they like the warmth, they like to pile in.
Welcome back. With us now is Stephanie Fagan, a biologist from the Conserve Wildlife Foundation of New Jersey. Stephanie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Stephanie, if I'm an average homeowner and I have a bat in my attic or my window, and let's say I'm one of those people who doesn't want to coexist with bats, is that something you want to know? Should I give Conserve Wildlife a call, or should I just call the bat exterminator? What should I do?
You should definitely give us a call or my email. We definitely want to know. It's just as important if it's a big brown bat colony, but hey, what if we get lucky and it's one of the rare species and it's a little brown bat colony, and we want that data. That's important. And we'll be able to provide you with, a free bat house. So, you can still have bat habitat in your yard and benefits from bats, but you don't have to coexist with them in your house.
So we've talked a lot about white nose syndrome in this episode. Are there other threats to bats?
The Indiana bat, for example, has been listed as federally endangered since the 70s due to habitat loss. And habitat loss is a threat to all bat species. Wind turbines have been a major threat as well, just to our migratory bat species flying in those corridors and hitting the blades. So there are a lot of threats that bats face, and I think that's one of the reasons why education is important. People need to understand, maybe you can't go out and do your own white nose syndrome research, but you can protect the bat colony that you have in your backyard.
Mackenzie, am I correct to assume that you also enjoy bats?
They're all right. Yeah, no, they're fascinating animals, and it's always cool to me when folks get into them the way that Phil and Lorna have, and a lot of our summer bat counters, and a lot of people who find themselves paying attention after maybe, in some cases, a lifetime of not really understanding bats and sort of unfairly judging them as vicious little rabies-ridden creatures of the night, because they're so hard to observe, and that makes them harder to understand.
Yeah.
When you do start paying attention, you realize just how incredibly cool these little guys are, and there's so much that makes them unique and skilled, and they're great moms, and so many other things that I think would really fascinate people if it were easier for people to get that glimpse into their world.
I ain't got no bags of money, sure ain't got no fancy car, but I feel good just laying it down for you. It made me feel like a movie star, and I don't need to ask permission. No, 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 gonna do what I want, gonna do it well. You can let me know if you like it, baby, yeah. With lots of love and plenty of soul, yeah. Open up your heart. Why don't you open up your mind? Why don't you open up your eyes? For lots of love and plenty of soul.